हैं बादा मस्त बादा आशा में अहमदियत चलता है दौर मीना ओ जाम अहमदियत.
Guys, today, K Talks, Khuddam Talks. As you know, Khuddam Talks is a platform which we started just to get to know each other, get to know Khuddam around us. We started off with knowing the Khuddam in our own local yardats and regions. And now, due to the virtual world, we're able to connect to people much further away. So today we have another, mashallah, very esteemed guest, a good friend of mine, good friend of my brother's as well. Good friend of Omar Khan as well. Zubair, Hayat, work of his Zindagi. Um, uh, you will learn a lot from him because a young guy who's given his life for the cause of the Jamaat, who's not a Murabbi, but serving in his own capacity and serving in the review of religions. And you will see a lot of his videos online on Instagram, on YouTube, on the streets, asking all those questions which people try sometimes avoid. So, Zubair, Hayat, I think your camera's the. I think you need to put
Other
the.
way around.
Yeah.
1 second, let me
You know,
try.
you should know this more than me, man. You know.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm using my phone, so it's a bit weird. Jazakallah for inviting me. We're looking forward to this all week, really. Someone to talk to in the lockdown.
Oh man, Zubair, pleasure having you. This is Khuddam Night. Khuddam Night is a small little platform that we started just about a year ago to get all the Khuddam in the West Midlands together, and just so that we're able to come together, learn something, just be able to see each other's faces, and also learn about each other's careers as well. So Zubair, let everyone know who you are. I know my knowledge is limited. You know yourself. Where were you born? Where did you go to school? Tell us a bit about your family. Tell us a bit about your last name, Hayat.
My last name actually isn't Hayat, which is interesting. But it's like for me and my brothers, the eldest one is Hayat, then it's Ahmed, then I'm the last is Ahmed as well. But I was born in London, so grew up in East London. A lot of people have like misconceptions. East London's all gangsters, this and that, but the movies. But it's not like that. Grew up in school. I wasn't great academically, but I was into sports. I could talk a lot, so I kind of got through in that sense. And just family. They're from originally from Mauritius, and my father's side is from Kenya, originally from India. So kind of grew up not with a kind of the Pakistani culture or anything like that. It was just like very British, and in that sense, spoke English and everything like that. I still can't speak Urdu even to this day. But yeah, so that was it really. Went to school, primary school, secondary school, and just because I was a Waqf, so I kind of like had that thing inside where I had to stay close to the Jamaat. And by doing that, it kind of stopped me from getting into a lot of trouble and things like that in school. Because, like when you're young and you're British and everything, it's easy to just make friends with all sorts of people. But I always knew in the back of my head that I have to go to the mosque tomorrow, or, some Atfal class or some Waqf class. So that kept me a bit on the straight and narrow. But yeah, that's my background really. Yeah.
You forgot the bit where you need to mention where we first met. Was every Jalsa, this guy and his family used to pitch a tent outside my house. I don't know why they chose that spot. There's the whole width of Islamabad, but right in front of my house and where the path is. There'd always be a tent, and him and his brother and family.
I don't know why we didn't get a hotel. Like it's just like a ritual thing that we have to go and stay there outside your dad's place and cook the breakfast in the morning on those stoves and just freezing cold all night. But it's part of the whole. Now we miss it with all this coronavirus and stuff. Jalsa and everything. It's like it just feels weird.
It was a different vibe, I think.
Different, yeah. It's pretty different. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So the bed, just on the back of that school, you must have gone East London, right?
Yeah.
The whole time, and you went to university. So tell us a little about university, your time there, and what did you study?
Yeah. So I went to college and I did like English and sciences. The typical kind of biology, chemistry, maths, and all that. Wasn't too great at that. And then I remember I had a mulaqat this Zubair, and he asked me like, what are you good at? And I didn't want to say like English, because that's something that, you know, you look down upon that in, especially in the culture that we come from. It's like doctor, lawyer, you know, engineer, that kind of stuff. But I said to Hazul, look, I was honest, and I said, look, I'm good at English. And then Hazul was like, oh, okay, do that then. And I was like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
And I remember when I came home and I told my dadi, right, I said, Hazul told me to do English. And she was like, why do you want to do English? You already speak English. So it's like that kind of thing, right? That why are you going to spend 3 years doing an English degree when you already know the language? So they didn't understand there's more to it. So anyway, so then I did my college and stuff, and I got through. And then looking at English, I thought, okay, the next step would be to do law. So I applied for law and everything. And I think at that time, Hazul was out the country on a tour or something, so I couldn't have mulaqat. And then when Hazul came back, I was lucky enough to get a mulaqat. And I went there and I said to Hazul, look, I've got into law, this and that. And Hazul was like, okay, that's fine. But I could tell there was something like wasn't right. So I said to Hazul, look, you know, I've got a place, but, you know, if you think something different, then let me know. So Hazul sat back on his chair, and then he said, yeah, you know what, don't do law. And I was like, okay. And he said, do an English degree and then do a master's. And I was thinking to myself, I've already got a place. Like, can you imagine? You get a place in, like, I think it was in Bristol University or some place like that. And I already got a place secured and everything. And then Hazul said that. And at that moment, I thought, how am I going to do this now? So, but obviously, I straight away said, yeah, Hazul, I'll do it. And I remember I went back home and I called up the university, and like they were shocked, because you don't get people turning down offers. You know, people want to get offers. So I turned that down. Then I had to go through like clearing, which is such a long process, the way you're trying to find the last places. And I called up this university in London, and I wasn't getting any places at all. And I called them up and I said, this is my thing. And they were like, why are you calling us so late? You know, there's only like 1 week left till the university starts. And I said, these are my grades and whatever, I'm really interested. And then they said, look, we don't have that many places left, so it's difficult and all that. And they said, do you do anything else? So then I started like saying, I do this, like I'm in the local, you know, section of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and I do this, like local work. I do regional stuff. I was part of this event, that thing. And the guy was listening a lot, and he was like, because of that, I'll give you a place. And I was so shocked that even when I went to the university and I actually like on the first day, I thought it was like a joke, because it was like literally the last second I got in just because of my Jamaat work. Wow. And that was another thing where Hazul told me to do it, and I thought, honestly, how am I going to make this happen? And I got in. And then I did 3 years there. Hazul said do a master's. I did 1 year. And then I met Amr Safir, who's the head of the Review of Religions, and he was talking to me at that point about like working in the Review of Religions, and then it kind of moves on to that side of doing work and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what happened at uni.
That's an incredible journey, and just the fact that you mentioned, I love that you mentioned that your Jamaat work, that's something which they looked at, because we all know this. Like, you're never gonna, what you learn in the Jamaat Qaid, you know yourself. You won't experience that anywhere else. And you yourself, you know that you're a dentist, regional Qaid. You can literally leave dentistry and you can run your job as regional Qaid as a full-time thing. And even then, you won't be able to do justice because there's so much.
You know, in terms of my job, you're right. I mean, yeah, fine, dentist. The Jamaat is actually looking at it. It's helped me so much in my role, because without the Jamaats, without giving me the opportunity to be the regional guide and doing all this side of things and the other things that, you know, as part of the role it encompasses, I wouldn't have been able to do half the things I have achieved within my normal work. So, for example, training dentists to become a dentist, I would never have done anything like that. But the Jamaat, that side of things, it's crazy, the push. And I remember I'll tell you a brief insight if I can. The day of our region got split from from Midlands to West and East Midlands. So I was just part of the arm, as said, the Jismani Nazim, regional Nazim, but hands up, I didn't really do a lot. Hands up, okay. I remember the next day I got a call from Hamid Saab, who's National Multimedia Saab, and he goes, Alhamdulillah, mashallah, you know, your name's been approved for regional guide. I was like, wait, it's got to be a mixing mistake. I mean,
Yeah.
I've not even been a guide. Like, how is this
Yeah.
happening? Anyway, so obviously Alhamdulillah, fourth year now, but I remember looking back at that time, I just in my head, I was like, wow, how am I going to do this? But then the blessings from just doing that and how it's transferred into my normal work, Alhamdulillah, like the normal job, even things such as time management and organization and things like that, it's crazy how much is the skills are transferable. So when you're Zubair said, when you're talking about in terms of your, you know, the opportunities and things like that, the Jamaat work has, alhamdulillah, given me this platform. It's not the other way around. So I completely agree with what you're saying, and I completely understand as well.
It's a great input, and I'll echo that, especially even when I was growing up. Anything that I was doing, even when I was in school and college, you know, I saw that all the work that I'm doing is helping me so much in my studies, you know, my personal relationship with people, and we can go on and on about that. But going back to you, Zubair, your journey during university, could you feel like what Hazur said in that time in your mulaqat, that there was some guidance happening for you, and then even Amr Sifri Sahib coming and talking to you in that moment? Was that moment you realized that, okay, this is what Hazur, that path he wanted me to follow? That moment.
Because I couldn't see at the beginning, like when Azur told me, like, do English, and so I was like, okay, what is this path that I'm going to be on? A lot of people, even listening right now in your region, they're probably thinking, oh, what do I do in life? You know, what direction shall I go in? And it's not always like it's going to be a clear-cut thing. And especially when I'm with my brothers, one's a doctor, one's a lawyer, there was a lot of pressure that, okay, what's the third one going to do? And a lot of people might have that as well. But it's like when you, and people kind of say this, but it's like actually going through the experience that when you actually put your trust in what Hazur wants you to do, it's weird, but like, I'm not even a talkative person. I was completely shy. I was like reserved. I wasn't academic. So you would write this person off and say, look, what's he going to do in life? But Hazur kind of has that thing like a father figure where he's like, oh, you can do it. You can make it happen. And through my whole university kind of life, people would come and try and be friends with me, this and that. But I always knew that Hazur was like watching me. It was weird. And I was like, I have to go back after 3 years and tell Hazur I've either passed or failed. And that just was insane drive that, look, I've got to make this happen. I've got to do it. There's something at the end of it. There's something after. And it gives you that like motivation, because as boys, it's easy to just go off the track. You can easily get distracted, this and that, you know, nonsense things. But like for example, I like football, and I was like more interested in football than I was in doing schoolwork. But because Azur said that, it was that motivation, that pressure that pushed me through. And then Amr Safir coming, it was just like another thing that, whoa, where did that come from? But like I said, when Hazur says something, it always has to kind of come true at the end. And, you know, obviously it's not easy. Like, it's not like Hazur said it and I just breeze through. You have to put the hard work in. But that, listening to what Hazur said, and I know a lot of people, Hazur might say something to them and they might like twist it into a way where like they don't do it at the end of the day. And I always see those people as not as successful as they could be. They didn't reach their potential, because you can't, like, if I know Omar Khan, right, who's listening, I don't know what his potential is. He doesn't even know himself. But Hazur's got that guidance from God, but also the fact that he's met so many people around the world. He knows that, you know, you can actually, you know, any person can go to much higher heights than they believe. And I think that was the guiding force for me.
So that was brilliant. I can't say how useful that is, because a lot of people listening, you know, we all mashallah, we all trust Hazur, we all love Hazur so much, we see him as our father figure. But when you experience that, it's like Hazur's got a point where he wants you, and he will just drag you there without you even realizing, and you don't know where. I think similar with my father as well. Like when he did work and he gave his life for the Jamaat, you know, Hazur Khalif Rabi took him from an island which no one really knew at that time, tiny island. And he just picked him up, you know, just put him in the UK, you know, you know, only a Khalifa can have that wisdom and that insight that we talk about. So, Zubair, we have a few guys, alhamdulillah, people who are going to Jamia on the call, people who have done work or thinking of doing work. Inshallah, they will one day. and everyone will have the chance to serve the Jamaat in their own capacity. So what advice, what would you give from your experience, from just a lad like us,
Yeah.
from the same alleyways that we've all lived by?
Yeah.
What would you advise everyone? Because I was reading a quote just a few days ago with my work for no, and one quote was that Hazrat Masih said that if everyone realized the true essence of life, if they realize their true purpose here, then the whole world would do work and they would give their life to serve the Jamaat. And if you were to die and you have to look back, and if you have to see what you would want to do, then everyone would want to do that. So, from your experience, like, what advice can you give, the young guys listening?
You see, you obviously know Humayun and whoever's like done Waqf and whoever's thinking about it, that it's not something that you pick someone up and put them in. It's like you can kind of track that from a young age, that person is kind of in that line. For example, like you see the top footballers, right? Ronaldo, whoever, they didn't just start at age 21. You know what I'm saying? They started at age 5 thinking about that journey and going in that way. So the thing is, all the boys listening, they all have that background. They all have, same as me, same as you, they all have the background where they were in the Jamaat, they're doing things in the Jamaat, and it's a lot of it just gets absorbed into your mentality without you knowing. And the main things that, the advice I can give is, number one is like, you need to be able to live a simple life. And what I mean by simple life is not like you have nothing. The simple life is that you live in a way where you kind of you're self-sufficient, and you kind of deal with yourself and everyone else in a positive way. So, I'm not saying that money is evil or money is wrong or whatever. What I'm saying is that to chase after money, to chase after like status, to chase after these things is an emptiness. You'll get some satisfaction along the way, but it's an emptiness. So I don't even really do these talks and stuff, and I'm forced to like make YouTube videos, but I'm a type of person that just is fine being at home and just like trying to do my daily things. So if you want to kind of do work, because you see this guy on MTA, you see this guy coming into your discussion forum and talking and being all slick and everything, and you think, I want to be that, then it's the wrong thing. That you shouldn't do it, because all that back, on a daily basis, when you're given work, you're given responsibility. Hazul could say, all right, you're in Australia tomorrow, you're in Argentina the next day, leave your wife and kids at home, you're going to go here for 2 years, you're in Africa. That's where then you realize, oh, this isn't just about making these fun videos on MTA or on Review of Religions platform or looking good here and there. So that's the true reality of it. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they kind of jump in head first when, thinking it's a particular thing, but it's not. And at the same time, when you actually can, it's like, like obviously I haven't got any kids or anything, but like a mother, for example, they say they want to have a baby, right? But they don't know like how much it takes to look after that kid on a daily basis, right? It's a mission and a half to make that happen and to live your own life and everything. And you go through all these ups and downs and all that, but at the end of it, you're like, wow, what would I do if I was single? It's boring compared to having the kid, and then have another kid and another one. And some of these on YouTube, they got 11 kids. It's like it's mental, right? But compared to a single person, that it seems like they're not really living. So in the same way, when you do work, it's like it's a similar thing, that you got all this responsibility, all this pressure. Everyone's watching you every minute. You're walking down the street, someone's looking at you, some Amdi guy, and he's talking to you and he's judging what you're doing, and you can't, you got to watch what you say, and you have to, get to that high standard. But at the same time, if I was just not doing it, what would I be doing? You know what I'm saying? So I would just be like lost in a sense, right? So it's a double-edged sword. You go for the responsibility, you go for the accountability, you got to be there, you got to be solid, you got to be a stable person. But at the same time, the rewards are so high that you really live a life of purpose, a life of passion, a life of understanding, a life of actually like, pushing yourself to limits that you never thought. And I've done things like I've climbed mountains and stuff like that, but that's baby stuff compared to this. compared to on a daily basis, standing up and saying like, I'm going to try my best to serve Islam is a mission and a half. And you realize when you try your best, it's not good enough. And then you got to do more and you got to do more. And it's like, you know, like say someone doing the splits and then you keep pulling them more and you're pulling them more and you're pulling them more. And they're like, every time they're like, I can't do it. I can't go. Like in regional guides, I was saying, why are they picking me for regional guide? But it's like the splits is they're pulling him. They're giving that responsibility. And even God says in the Quran, I don't burden anyone beyond their capacity. So as men, as boys, we've got broad shoulders. We can take on more. But have you got someone that's giving you that responsibility? And that's why I said only Huzur can give that. And when he does, it comes down on you like a ton of bricks, but you get stronger, you know. And if you try to avoid that, you live a life of comfort, but it's not really interesting. It's not really a life fulfilled.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think what you said about not knowing what to expect, I think that summarizes everything in a nutshell. Guides are everyone's got a responsibility within the Jamaat or national. We all think ourselves that I am not the right person. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be sitting in Warsaw talking to you guys right now. That should be someone else. I shouldn't be moving to another Jamaat. You know, people are much better than me, but why has it fallen on me? Why have I been going on this journey, and why have I made this decision? And why is Allah taking me here? You know, you have to accept that this is Allah's will, and Allah, like you said, from the Holy Quran, you're not burdened beyond your own capacity, and Allah will never do that. So if you change your mindset, and if you accept that, then anything you do, you'll realize that, you know, Allah is helping me in what I'm doing. Instead of going against it, and it's going to keep hitting. You're going to keep hitting a wall and falling. Saying I'm not the right person, or I can't do this.
Step into it. You got to step into it and say like, if this is my destiny, then let's go. You know, this is the thing. Can't shy away from it. Like, you know, it says it in so many places in the Quran about like Moses alayhi salam, right? Then when they used to say like, these are the real men, and there were other men at that time who were told to go into, like, metaphorically go into the fire, right? And they stepped back and they went home to sit with the women and the kids, you know? So are you a type of guy that's going to step into it? Or are you going to like I used to do karate like my whole life. So you get in those situations where you're sparring, you're in a fight in your class, in your dojo, and the guy's in front of you is massive. And I'm like 15 and this is like a grown man and he's hitting me and stuff, and I've got to step into it. And the sensei, the instructor's like, come on, like go in. And I'm like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this is difficult. And you know, my whole body's like going against me and saying like, stop. You gotta move into it. And a lot of people that do sports, a lot of people that understand these things, they realize that it's like you got to lean into something, and that's how you deal with your Jamaat work. You don't shy away from it. The more you shy away from it, you're not going to learn. You got to step into it. You got to accept it, and it's all good after that.
Yeah, I think you really feel this sense of contentment, and this is what I wanted to go on to is, do you feel content? Do you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose in life? And what are the things that you are doing now, which you feel are really, benefiting yourself, and you feel are benefiting you in the Jamaat as well?
Contentment. Yeah, I do feel it, but like I said, at the same time, I feel like
you've done nothing as well at the same time.
Yeah, like there's a lot more around the corner. You know what I'm saying? So, like I used to look at people, because I'm more of a visual person. So I used to look at, like Tommy Saab when he used to be Sadr Khudam, Mia Saab when he used to be Sadr Khudam, Fahim Anwar, all these kind of people. And I used to see the way they behave and the way they do things and the level of responsibility they have. And I was like, if only I could be like 10% of that, because they're so intelligent, they're so smart, they're so, articulate, they're doing really good things for the Jamaat, the community and everything. And for me, it's like, I can see that I've gone to a certain level, but there's a lot more that I can push myself towards. And the main thing now at my age, because I'm 29 now, is like living that full package of an Islamic life. That's the most important thing. Because I can make videos, I can do work, I can work from, like all day till midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff. But to live that Islamic life is difficult. That's the thing where, because, for example, like your Khuddam and everyone that's watching, like you can go and do Jamaat with them. If you go home and you have some bad relationship with your parents, you have bad relationship with your wife, kids, you know, you're doing all sorts of stuff. What's the point of doing the Jamaat? There's no point, because you're not living in that Islamic way. So for me, it's like going back to basics. Even though I feel like I've done a lot, it's like, how do I go back to basics every time and try and perfect that? The 5 daily prayers, you know, reading the Quran, understanding it, not just reading it like a parrot, and actually understanding what it says, hadith. And people overlook these things. Like you look at hadith, it's like a one line. You can take that one line and base your whole life on that, you know, that hadith. And, you know, for me, that's like the way that I'm looking at myself now, that how can I be at the end of my life, say that, you know, I've lived a life of, you know, a simple life, but a life that is like sophisticated, and it's actually helped my community, helped my, you know, religion, helped my family, you know, inspired other people. You know, these are things that is, you know, we're in the era of like of Trump and everything, where it's like, how do I become famous? How do I become rich? How do I become, you know, and like I said, that's just, it's really empty. And if you want to try that, you can try it, but it's not going to get you. I've been to university. It's not like I was dropped out of, you know, some random place. I've seen it. I've been there. You know, it's like I didn't come from a poor family where there was no money or anything like that. So I know how it feels. But to me, it's like, that wasn't my goal. That wasn't my main goal. My main goal, I feel, was something higher. And it's like, I'm just trying to go towards that. So I feel a contentment that I've done a good amount of things, but like, there's much more for me to go into.
I think everyone can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
Everyone. When you do Jamaat work, you feel like this satisfaction, like, you know, yeah, I've done my daily job, but I've actually helped someone. I've put a smile on someone's face, and only if I can have more of that, you know, I want more of that. And that's what I found becoming Murabbi. I found that so intoxicating that, you know, I'm affecting someone else's life through my own experiences. And for me, that's the greatest satisfaction that I can get. But I continuously want to find other ways of doing that. And one of the things also about doing work is you never know who your next door neighbor is, or who your friends are going to be. And this is what I thought when I saw you guys. I always used to be playing against you in football, but I never ever thought that, you know, one day I'll be living in the same area. I'll be working alongside you and working with you. So with you, Zubair, like, you know, coming into Review of Religions, making those relationships with everyone there, how was that for you? And can you just share with us some of the things that you've got up to and things that you've seen yourself develop in, and through those prayers, how you've, you know, improved yourself as a person?
Yeah. So, like I said, I did English.
Just whilst Zubair Shab's doing that, I think one of the most important things I'm taking from this is just that the constant self-reflection that Zubair Shab's sort of doing, and sort of seeing, okay, so I'm here, how can I get to the next level? And I think that's something we should, as Khuddam, just generally, is something that will take us to the next level. If we're constantly reflecting, okay, not being happy with where we are, and sort of look to progress. And I think another big thing that I've found as well is a lot of the time we just get comfortable, we're in our comfort zone and we're happy, but actually the growth, the progress we'll see is actually when we step out of that. And I think by the sounds of it, Zubair, a lot of what you're saying in the book is that actually one day you're here, but the next day you might be somewhere else, and that out of your comfort zone is what helps you grow, isn't it? So,
exactly.
I literally woke up to that feeling today. I was telling everyone before that I've just been reposted to another Jamaat within the Midlands. And I saw Tika, I've been reposted, and I saw another name, like another Jamaat. I was like, Leamington Spa as well. You know, I've already got three. Why is there giving another one? But then, alhamdulillah, you know, he's, like you said, I'm being stretched and I'm being pushed to my capacities and increasing my capacity of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I echo everything you were saying about it. So let's go back to
So the question was about how do I push myself, or
how have you seen
how do I improve
within the Review of Religions? We get up to within the Review of Religions, just for our own benefit.
Yeah. So like I said, my degree was in English, but after that I didn't do much of the English. So I remember starting in Review of Religions, and it was like, what are you here for? Like, what is your role? And I had to just make my own role. So what I did was I looked at the magazine, and I thought, you know, our social media presence isn't that good. we had a website, a Twitter page. That's it, really. So I said, let's start a YouTube channel, and that was like when I started 6 years ago. So they were like, all right, let's start one. I made it on some random Gmail account, and we started. And I remember at that time, like MTA is obviously like is the big, you know, organization that everyone that does video looks at and says, wow. And I went with Amr Safir to MTA, and we asked somebody like, you know, can I get some training in videos? Because I didn't have no clue about it. But obviously I watched YouTube videos and stuff, so I had some understanding. And they said, yeah, it will take about 6 months to a year, come in once a week and you'll learn it. And I sat there and I thought to myself, like, this is another thing that I'm very competitive. So if someone says to me, like, you can't do this, then it's like, I'll take it as a challenge. So I thought to myself, if I take 6 months to a year, in 2 months, it's always going to look, you know, because he gets daily reports on what everyone's doing. He's going to look at me and say, like, what are you doing? Like, it's been 2 months. You know what I'm saying? It's the standard is like up there. So I went home that night and I just spent the whole night and I just watched tutorials on how to learn all this Premiere Pro stuff, editing. And in 2 days, I learned like everything there is to know about this software and stuff from zero. And then I told Amr Safir, let's get this let's buy the software and let's start. We bought the software, and then we basically just went on the street. And this is what I'm saying, like I was a shy person, I wasn't really talkative and stuff. And I had to come out of that. And I had to go on the street and talk to anyone, like girls, boys, old, young, and everything. And I'd be like, hello, can I stop you for a second? I need to make a video. Amr Khan's been with us a few times. And they're like, no. You've been there for like 2 hours. No, sorry, you're weird. Stop talking to me, this, that. And I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, when you even get someone, it's like, okay, what do you want to talk about? Islam. Like, okay, no thanks. And it's like constantly no in your face, right? Yeah. Like you're just some weird guy on the street. No, like official badge, no anything. We didn't even have permission to be there. So I would go back and I say to Amr Sahib, like, yeah, nothing really happened, you know, this and that. And he has that also, that drive and everything. Because obviously with Amr Sahib, it's like Huzur directly has mulaqats like on a weekly basis, right? So there was that kind of you know, drive from Huzur that, you know, we need to make something happen. And then after like a couple of times we went out into central London, we obviously got more confident. People started like answering questions, and we made these amazing videos where it's like talking to people on the street, asking like, what does death mean to you? What does spirituality mean to you? Can you be spiritual but not religious? And people started talking to us, and we thought, okay, we've got something here. And then over that year, we basically like, you know, built this platform in the Review of Religions where, you know, it culminated in this big video we did called I'm a Muslim, Ask Me Anything, which was in America. And the background, I don't know how long I've got left, but the amount of effort we put into that video was insane. It was like something I'd never done. So if you think about it, we went to America for 2 months, right? And me, Amr Safir on a plane, went there. Tariq Malik, who's also in the video, he was like living there. And we traveled to like, I don't even know how many states, like 20 states or something, 13 flights. So we'd basically be on the street filming all day, have meetings like Jamaat meeting, because Amr Safir was giving presentations. So after filming from like 9 a.m. to say 7 p.m., you would see like Amr Safir go to a meeting, present to like 100, 200 people about what Review of Religions does. Then we'd basically spend the night editing, sleep at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up for Fajr, get on a plane, go to another state, do the same thing over again. And because we only had 2 months, like we had to pack as much stuff into that trip as possible. And it was just non-stop, on the go every day. And I had like, you know, 100 hours of footage, which I had to narrow down to like 8 minutes. It took like 6 months to edit it. But we were like constantly on the move. And I believe obviously with Huzur's prayers, the fact that we actually put that effort into it, put that time into it, and created and crafted that video into something that it is now, has made it get like 5 million hits or whatever million hits is at the moment. And it's got like, you know, 100,000 comments, and it's made a massive impact. But like I said, we had to push ourselves to like, you know, I came back and I slept for like 3-4 days straight, because we just had like 3 hours sleep every day and was out, whether it was hot. So we would fly from like LA to Miami to New York, and it was different time zones. It was, you know, some days we would like get a lot of good stuff. The next day we might say, all right, let's just delete all that footage and do other stuff. So it's very self-critical, very, you know, focused. And obviously people see the end product and say, yeah, it's a good video, but they don't see what was in that, what happened, you know, behind the scenes. And there's so much content that I had to like, and I've still got on a hard drive about that trip that we didn't use. But it's, you know, it's like we had to put that time and energy in. And I feel like a lot of the times, even on a regional level, local level, national level, sometimes people just get stuff done for their reports and things. They don't really analyze and go into it and say, okay, if I'm going to make this video, if I'm going to do this project, how do I do it so that I'm pushing myself to, you know, a different level? And when you do that, and Hazur like pushes us in that same way, God takes it to a different level for you, because you've really put your life on the line and made that happen. And since that time, we haven't had another video like that. But I remember that experience, and it was so difficult, so tough to go through it. And it kind of like turned me into a different person as well, just by doing it. And nowadays, like I have a feeling that like I can go into that mode again very easily and kind of push myself to that level. And that's only 5. I mean, there's a lot of hits, but it's 5 million. So I'm thinking, how do I get to 30 million? That's going to be pushing myself even harder, you know. And so those are the kind of things that I was doing. And then designing the magazine and things, I had to learn it all myself. So all these things is like self-taught, self-learning, self-education, and then really pushing ourselves, the whole team, you know, from the top, from the editor, chief editor, Mr. Saab, all the way down, is pushing ourselves and really, really trying our best to, you know, to compete on that level. And even Hazul sent us to our department. He sent like Time magazine, and he sent National Geographic and these kind of magazines. And he's like, you know, when he sends it to us, it means that you guys got to be competing on that level. That, you know, you can't be competing with just any local thing. So, you know, that mindset, that mentality is different. It's a different class of even if you're even, and like, I'll give you a quick thing. For example, on that trip, Mr. Saab, he filmed the whole thing. So we had 2 cameras, right? One camera was a camera that I bought when I was in university. It was such a basic camera I bought just to film like my nieces and nephews growing up. We took that camera, and then Mr. Saab filmed the other. He was also filming, and he filmed from an iPhone. So it was this budget Canon camera and an iPhone that filmed the whole thing. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's not like you don't need big budgets. You don't need. Everyone sits there and says, "Yeah, when I get that £10,000 camera, then you know it's going to do this and that." You can film. I can film it with Samsung, LG, you know, whatever phone, because it's not about the equipment. It's not about the resources. It's not about the time and everything. It's like your mentality. Can you turn nothing into something? Can you go to a random place, a random country, and make something happen? You know, do you have the idea? Do you have the creativity? That's what, you know, as a work, that's what life is about. That you get sent to Africa, you get sent to anywhere, Midlands, whatever, and you turn that place into a place where things are happening, things are moving. And we saw that with like Khalifa Rabi when he came to the UK, right? A lot of us weren't even born then, but like my dad and everybody talks about it, that, you know, he came to Fazl Mosque and it was just like, you know, a few families, and look at the difference 10 years later. It's like a hub of the world. And then Islamabad, same thing. That Islamabad was just like, you know, a few families and everything. Wasn't much going on over there. And then Hazul's gone there and he's just changed it into something on a global scale. So this is the thing, we can't sit there and say, all right, when we get the approval, when we get the budgets and stuff, like a lot of the things I do, I don't even want to say it because it's not good to say, but like I don't wait for the approval or permission. Like, you know, if I'm in America and the police come and say, oh, why are you filming? I'm like, okay, sorry, and I just move on down the road. You got to be street smart, you know, you can't get things down on the planet. If you're going to email, you know, the president of America and say, am I allowed to film on your place and everything? By the time that comes back, you know, 10 years would have gone past. So You got to be street smart. You got to be like, resourceful, and you got to kind of make things happen. That's the name of the game. Hazur doesn't want, like, for us as Waqf, Hazur doesn't want us to come and say, we got the plan or we got the idea. He's like, have you got the job done? And as boys, as men, it's like, that's what we live for, getting the job done and moving forward. And, I'm just trying to think what's the next video I can do. And if anybody has any ideas, let me know, because I want to go back to Hazur and say, Hazur, we did it again. We got another innovative video.
Yeah. I think, it's just amazing. You reminded me of the America trip, and I remember following that as well and watching it.
Yeah.
For me, if someone who's also gone through the same journey with the video editing and, understanding even editing 1 minute of a video, can
Not
take,
easy.
yeah, but it can take you a long, long time, even when you just get started, just putting in the ideas.
It's hard, yeah.
But we'll show you guys the videos afterwards as well. I just saw it on YouTube now, 5.4 million views.
Yeah.
That shows effort and with prayers, Allah will take you to that level. And we
Yeah.
have talked a lot, and we've mentioned his name as well. Let's talk about Hazur. Let's talk about your relationship with Khilafat before and after. And how was it from that journey, and you saw him guiding you during university? Is there anything that you can relate to us that you've had personally experienced with him that you can share with all of us?
Few things I'll say them quickly. Like the first time when I met Hazur, like Khalifa Rabi, I didn't really have a relationship because I was really young. And even when he passed away, I was a bit confused, like, because how old? I was 29, so I must have been like 15, 16 or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's going on? What is it about? This and that. I barely had like a mulaqat where I was talking to Hazur and stuff like that. So when the first mulaqat I had, I was like so scared that I was just sitting there. My brothers were sitting opposite on the side of me, and Hazur was like, does this boy even speak? Like, does he even have, And I still didn't say anything. So I was just like a puppet just sitting there, right? Like a dummy. And that was the first time I met Hazur. And then when I went to college and stuff, I got a bit more confident. And then there were quick mulaqats. Then Hazur was just saying, like, do good things and ask me about my degree and stuff, my schoolwork. But then when I finished my master's and I went to see Hazur said to me, Acha, you want to do waqf? So I kind of like didn't like respond to that. And I said to Hazur, and Hazur was like, let me just explain to you what it is. So I said, okay. And then Hazur said, sometimes you sit in front of Hazur and you don't know what to say. Like, it's just it's very strange. And I was by myself, and it's like when you sit in that room, like not even when you sit in it, when you walk into the room, you remember like Fazl Mosque when you walk around the door, it's like you're just literally in a different dimension, right? And it's like, it's the only way I can explain it is like, it's like, when there's this heavyweight kind of like boxing matches when the guys are walking up to the ring and it's like the pressure's on, right? It's like from that door to the desk, it's like takes like half an hour to walk there, and you're just like you're like sweating, right?
Ring entrance.
Sorry, guys.
So go on.
It's like your own ring entrance, isn't it? Like,
yeah, literally.
With no music, just like astaghfirullah.
Yeah, literally, and you don't know what to say, how to approach or anything, right? And it's always usually like sitting there on the desk doing his work, right? So you're like, what do I do? And you kind of come in with a half, Assalamu alaikum kind of thing. So then Hazur like stand up, and I was like, oh God, and like shake my hand and stuff. And then I would sit down, and Hazur said to me like, so you want to do this waqf thing? So he said you're only gonna have a little amount of money, and it's like no job that you'll ever do. Are you okay with that? So I looked at Hazur and I said, because the thing is, I was young, so every time I would look down and give respect. But when he said that, I felt like he wanted an answer. So I looked at Hazur like properly, and I said, Hazur, I'm ready to do it. So he sat back and he said, okay, fine, sign the form and do it. So then obviously when I came out of the mulaqat, it's like you've been in a sauna, right? You're like sweating and head's gone and everything. And then I was like, how do I do this? And then before I went to America, there's another interesting story happened when I was doing these book covers, right? So Hazur sent over some book covers he wanted to design. So I was like part of the team, but I wasn't really doing much. I was like an assistant, right? And this is interesting because you'll see how Hazur's mind is like on these tasks. And just imagine that how much he's dealing with. Like you guys or me, like we deal with a lot on a daily basis. But if you think about Hazur, he's dealing with like a lot, right? Like millions of people and everything that's involved in all of that, and his own things and everything like that, which you don't know, which nobody knows about. So anyway, so I had this mulaqat, and I was going to tell Hazur that I'm going to America in a few days. So I got Amr Free Sub to like get me a quick mulaqat to just mention that I'm going, because you're going to a different country, anything can happen. So just wanted to say Islam and, Hazur, please pray for me and everything. So I had the mulaqat. 2 days later, the flight was going to happen to go to America. And the same thing, like I turned that door. Munir Javed, our private secretary, said, "Yeah, you can go in." I was like, "Okay, thank you." Walked past him and everything, and I stood there in the room. Hazur was like, Hazur called my name, and I walked up and I said salam and everything. And it was going well up to that point. And then where the desk was, like there were the chairs in front, right? By the time I got to those chairs, I heard like Hazur's voice talking to me, right? And because I'm like, I think Hazur kind of knows I don't speak Urdu, so it's like it was in English, which is good. But Hazur said, "Where's my work?" and I was like, because can you imagine? I've only been there like a year or two. I'm just like a nobody, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, when he said that, I was like, "What work?" So this is like, it's all happening in real time, right? So I'm standing there, not facing Hazur, facing the opposite way, with near the chair, standing up, and I'm like, what work, right? And I'm like, brain is going 100 miles an hour. What kind of work? I don't get this. And then Hazur goes, "Sit down," and I was like, oh, okay. So then I turned around, I sat down, and then he went like serious, like for once, like the first time I saw Hazur serious. And he said to me, so it was like just me and him in the room. And he said, that the book cover that I gave for you to do. So I'm thinking to myself, book cover? Like I'm part of this team, but I wasn't given any book cover. He said, "Yeah, I gave you this book cover. Why isn't it done?" And I'm saying it nicely, but Hazur was saying it like seriously. And then, so I'm sitting there, and all I could say was like, "I'm sorry, like I didn't do it." But I didn't know what book cover that Hazur was talking about. But I didn't have the courage to say like what book cover. I was just like, "I'm sorry, I didn't do it." And Hazur was like, then he went from very serious to like, and he sat back and he started laughing and he said, "Okay, you got one day, do it." And I said, "Okay, Hazur, yeah, that's fine, I'll do it." And not knowing what this was, I didn't ask any further questions. And then Hazur started laughing and he's like, "That's okay, so when you're getting married, what's this? How's life and everything?" So then it was like he went relaxed and kind of, that was the first time as a waqf that I saw the so-called business side. That this is not a joke. This is not like this was a tiny, like you said, a tiny glimpse into that side of life, right? And then I came out the mulaqat and I was calling like, so imagine that happened in the first half of the mulaqat. The second half, I don't know what, I was just sitting there thinking, nothing bothers me, right, about how my life's going. I'm thinking, what's this thing? What's his work? What's his book cover and everything? And I came out the mulaqat, I was calling 10 people. "Oh, no, what happened? Where's this book cover? Hazur's talking to me about it. And why am I in trouble? This and that. I'm leaving in 2 days to go to America and everything like that, right?" And I called this one guy and he's like, "Yo, yeah, Hazur sent it to us and then I forgot to tell you." And I'm like, so I had this mulaqat, you forgot to tell me that there was this thing that I had to do. And not just that, out of Hazur's schedule, can you imagine, like he's got, let alone he's got a private secretary or he's got people that are in the departments. He knows like that I assigned this thing to this person. And like I said, I was an assistant of the team and he was like checking up on it. Like, where is this? And like, if you ask me what I had for breakfast, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you, right? So that level of detail is the thing. Like people say, "Oh, we have a leader," right? Whether it's a prime minister, president, whatever. But when you get to know them, you start to see, oh, the guy is not really doing much. Whereas the more I get to know Hazur, through doing like work and things like that, the more I see that this is not normal. This is not like an average thing where, and this is an incident I'm telling you guys, but like imagine the things that people don't tell you. Where Hazul, he knows like it's weird. It's like he knows all these different things going on, and you know, it's like that knowledge and understanding and leadership and then at the same time, like he kind of told me off, but then also he was nice to me, like with me afterwards, right? So it's like that charisma and that he didn't want to just blast me completely to that I've become demotivated. He started laughing and it's just, you know, so people don't have that, you know, they're either one side or the other. And these are the moments that and another thing that happened in America was that, no, sorry, Canada, was that I went for 2 months with the Review of Religions, and we were filming Hazur and everything. And the Hazur schedule in Canada was just like incredible. It was just, you know, non-stop, even though it was a different time zone, it was freezing cold, it was like winter and everything like that. And we're all sitting there in like, you know, massive coats and hats at Fajr time, and Hazur walks in, you know, just in the same way that he does, no like coat on or anything. So that strength, you know, that power that he has. And then I remember this one incident happened where it's kind of funny that I was filming Hazur, and you know, like in Peace Village, there's like thousands of people, right? And Hazur was coming from Namaz back to where he was staying, his residence. And I was positioned to stand and film, like in the middle area kind of thing. And it was just me with my small camera. So I'm holding the camera on my chest, and because I've trained myself, like when I put my camera there, I don't move it. So whatever happens, I don't move it. So even if someone's shouting behind me, something happens, I don't react, because I just stay in one position. So I'm standing there, right? And Hazur's coming and walking past. But for some reason, I positioned myself in the wrong way, where Hazur was walking towards me. So I've got my camera there, right? And can you imagine thousands of people like there doing the thing, and Hazur security guards coming and everything. And Hazur security guard's looking at me, and he's like move, kind of, but without saying it, right? He's like, can you like shift that way? And I'm just stuck, and I'm just standing there like that, right? And then it's like when Hazur was coming towards me, it was like, you know, like when you see something, but you just get into this daydream kind of phase, right? And it doesn't normally happen to me like with anything really. And I forgot that I was even filming, and I forgot that I was in the position like in front of Hazur kind of thing. And he literally walked to me, and then he just laughed and just like brushed past me, right? The security guard's like, what is going on? What is this guy doing, right? Move out of the way. But these are things that like you can't explain to a normal person. Like you kind of, these things make you do what you need to do to kind of serve Islam and Ahmadiyyat. And I believe that if we didn't have Khilafat, like these other Muslims or non-Muslims, there's nothing to motivate you. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it's like God puts the Khalifa there so that you just become so attracted towards that person. And not only that, like you have to then try and emulate that with yourself. You got to try and take those qualities, because that's like the benchmark of excellence that is so high up there. If you can even get 1%, you'll be doing great things. You know what I'm saying? So I've got loads of these stories, but like these are the kind of moments that really then in my heart I felt like this is a man of God, you know, because people might say it, but you have to experience it yourself. That these are normal things that happen, that, you know, that on a daily basis that you see in other people. I've seen like all these world leaders and stuff and other people generally, and it's not the same.
Yeah, brilliant. Honestly have no words. I can only say that I'll let you guys in on a little Murabbi secret kind of thing.
Yeah.
From our side, 7 years in Jamia, you know, you go into Murqa, just was loving, like you're like your father. You kiss his hand. You know, he asks you how you are, how's your family, how's studies. Second those 7 years finish, you go into that Murqa. Azur's got his hand down. He's writing something. You're sitting there. You're like, okay, what's happening? And he looks up to you, goes, "Have you done my work?" And then you're like, you're like,
what work?
like you said, you go into some crazy mode. And then even like when you're done, it's always like, are you still sitting here? Like,
Yeah.
go do my work now. Go do your
Yeah.
job. I'm Rabbi. If you're not gonna do it, who's gonna do it?
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's like in that moment, it's always like found your activation button, just pressed it, and it goes, just
Yeah.
go. Don't come back until you finished it.
And Hamaya, one thing is that like, one thing I find like different is that, like Hazur's, we all have like our dads and stuff, right? But it's one thing I find like when you saying that is that we're all young guys and we all got testosterone and we'll play football and we do this and we like boxing and everything. But Hazur at that level, he's still got that same energy, even more than we've got. Do you know what I'm saying? So he makes us like seem like wimps in a sense, because he's like so on it and he's so like focused. And when you feel that, it's like it's beyond like a young person. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where you get that stamina from. It's just different.
Yeah, I think when with us, right, we always feel when we're going to Mulaqat like Hazur won't understand us.
Yeah,
Hazur has gone through everything that we've gone
exactly.
through.
Yeah,
Not just personally, but through meeting so many people as well. So when you say something to him, Hazur knows the answer before you even said it, and he knows what's in your heart, and he'll just give you the answer. And in that second, he'll just cool you down, and he'll bring you back to the world, and just motivate. Like you said, he will do it in such a loving way, but he knows how to talk to every person. But like us missionaries and work for Zindagi's, he's a bit harder because he knows what we need. We need to be pushed and we need to be told exactly, this is your job, go do it. Whereas with other people, do it in a much more loving way, in a subtle way. But with you, with your first experience, you had a bit of both, a bit of like,
half and half.
I hope it's about you got the best of both worlds. The more you meet him, your Amr Sifri Sahib will tell you as well. He's straight to the point. He just wants facts. That's what we're there to do. Like with everyone as well, when you're doing your Jamaat work, man, you start to realize that, like even with you, that in that 1 second after Mulaqat, you started, doing everything which probably took you, weeks or months.
I made that book cover in one day.
Yeah, exactly. You realize that you could have done all that in a second or in a day. And all of us as well, sometimes we have so many pending jobs. We can easily do it so quickly. But through our own laziness, we drag it on until like either we forget about it or the time is gone. It's a great lesson, and Hazur is there to remind us, to constantly remind us, and administration is so important. And I feel that this Al Khalifa is so on the ball. He's on when it comes to getting things done within the Jamaat. Zubair, honestly, we can sit here for a long time. Sure, and it's been a great pleasure. I just wanted to open up to the platform, guys. I know Hamza and all you guys, have done work for thinking about it. Anyone in particular, generally, if you guys have any questions, please fire ahead. Zubair's here for a short while. Let's make the most of them. Please, guys, over to you. Any questions? So you go.
Don't all ask at once.
No, so Zubair, honestly, like Murabi Sahib said, really good listening and hearing. I just wanted to ask, in terms of your next sort of projects, what are you? I know you said you've got. If anyone's got any ideas, but what sort of things are you looking at for your next sort of videos and stuff?
You see, the thing is, when I started in Review of Religion, it was just me as the doing videos. Now we've got like 8-9 man team, so it's like managing that now has become. It's like I've had to learn management skills, and like Humaya was saying, like you be harsh, but you're also nice at the same time. All these kind of things is evolved from that. So we've got people in Canada, France, all over the place. But like I said, at any moment someone could make something that goes viral. An idea can come from anywhere. So I'm just like trying to get feelers out and trying to stay relevant and stay relatable and everything, so that I can make the next video that goes viral. But I'm not sure what that will be right now. It's a tricky one.
If I think of anything, I'll let Murabi.
Please do. We'll credit you.
At me.
I just want to come to Kashif. Could I come to you quickly, just for someone who's thinking of going to Jamia? Like,
Yeah.
How do you feel the talk was? Do you feel like, you know, it's firmed your decision of going to do work? Just hear from you quickly. I like putting people on the spot here.
Give us your
Uh,
lecture now.
uh, I think the talk was very good and very inspiring, and I think it was very informative as well. And I found it very relatable, as like how you can just go from here and there without flick of the wrist or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
What are
true.
you doing now? Are you like in college or?
I'm in college right now. Yeah.
And you want to go to Jamia?
Yeah, that's the
That's the plan.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Hamza,
Stay focused. I think you'll get there.
Hamza, let's go to you quickly. Boy from
Inshallah.
Newcastle. How you? Yeah.
The worst football team in the world, yeah. Newcastle.
Well, now I'm from Birmingham, but I'm here for
Okay,
work.
well,
I'm
even
Newcastle,
worse.
right? Yeah. I can't think of anything at the moment.
But how do you find the talk, and someone who's, you know, doing dentistry but wants to serve the Jamaat as well one day?
I think it's it's very relatable, especially when you talk about, you know, not being content and always wanting to progress. It reminds me a lot about stuff like Surah Al-Fatiha, when you always talk about unlimited progress, and it's good to have got to a certain level and you can be content with that, but there's always a higher aspiration, a higher goal that you want to get to, even in terms of spiritual terms, in terms of Jamaat work, and for us as well, in terms of our worldly jobs as well. There's always like another ladder, another rung to go up to and keep improving. And I think touching on that, like, I think we can all relate to that, which is really,
You see,
really
your name's Hamza, right?
Yeah.
So you see, like you said, worldly jobs, right? I always have an issue with that because because like if you're a dentist, you don't like you're in dentistry school, right? Or you're in uni or whatever.
I've just finished.
So you're qualified, yeah? But like for you to be a dentist or to be a doctor or something like that, it's like in terms of spirituality, and you're serving humanity.
Yeah.
And in to say like, okay, this is the guy's a waqf zindagi, so he's not in the world and the world is the head. Everything is encompassed.
It's yeah. It's
so
all one. It's one and the same. Yeah.
It's all one and the same. So I've got an iPhone. I've got a MacBook. I like traveling. I like going on holidays, Turkey, this way, that way. So I don't see myself like I'm living in a cave by myself.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think I was trying to like make it different goals, but I know what you mean. It's very much interrelated.
It's interrelated, yeah. So
I know what you mean.
For you to do dentistry is an amazing thing, and just make sure that you remain grateful, because obviously like money's going to come in, right? Status is going to be there and everything. But like you got to make sure that your connection with Khilafat is so solid that you benefit from everything. You're a well-rounded individual. That's the main thing. It's not that Jamaat is on one side and this is. It's that you want to be well-rounded. You want to be healthy. You want to be happy. You want to have good relationships. You want to do your work properly. But to do that, Islam covers it all. So the best thing is go for Islam. Just overall, Islam Ahmadiyyat. That's the one, and you'll be successful in your life.
Inshallah.
And lastly, I'll go to Umar Khan, because can't leave Umar and without them talking to each other. Umar, how are you, man? Just tell us how you find the talk, and talk to your old friend again. Gangsters from
Umar was a wannabe gangster. Didn't quite get there.
Why do you think you came to the Midlands? Yeah, Umar.
No, I haven't got any questions, but it's good to see you. It's good to see your face again.
You too.
I hope everything's going well.
I know Umar's life story already, so I don't need to answer that. You can make a documentary on his life story, I think, where he came from.
Umar as well is going to graphic designing and Photoshop and stuff. So
Umar has helped us quite a lot in Review of Religions. He's done a lot of things, so I think he's someone you can use. And he does all this graphic design stuff and everything.
I'm actually funny enough, I'm actually editing some Jamaat stuff for Humayya, for the Murabbi sub now. So.
Nice. So push Umar, make sure that he does more.
All these boys on the screen right now, they're all being pushed in some way.
Yeah, I could tell.
Maybe I'm being pushed away but a bit too much.
But this platform is good. I enjoy it. Like, I've never seen like this kind of thing happening, where you're getting different people, especially with the lockdown and coronavirus. It's nice to just talk to people, because sometimes you're stuck doing your work and you don't kind of get to speak to like-minded, same age kind of, people. And I watched the last one as well. It's quite good.
Yeah, it is the idea. Yeah, we're all young, man. We're something like
Yeah.
I always say this whenever I go to the mosque. I'm tired of seeing old people sitting on the chair. I'm like, where are the young guys gone, man? Come on.
Yeah.
We need to try and push everyone out and just remind everyone that these we're young. We've got a lot of capabilities. We've got a lot to give to the Jamaat. So let's do it while we're still young and not regret it later. So very Jazakallah
for having me.
really appreciate it. I have nothing else to say really, because you've covered everything that I used to cover.
We'll do a part 2 at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see, inshallah, in your next tour somewhere.
Yeah.
But those are the perks, when you do work, there's always going to be perks, relationships, these wonderful things.
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah.
And that's the stuff which attracts people. We have one more thing that we do just before finishing. We do a Kahoot. The rest of, if you want to join, you're more than welcome. But I know
I've got to take leave. I'm really sorry.
So you always leave after the talk. For me. For a single man, no, I'm not taking it.
Last time I did the quiz, I'm pretty certain I won, so I'll let you win this. Zubair, I've really enjoyed nice definitely we can do a part 2, definitely. 100%. But Jazakallah, guys, I'll speak to you soon, inshallah.
All right, man.
All right, take care.
I'm off as well then.
Okay, yeah.
Boys. I'll speak to you soon then.
Inshallah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Right,